Hey, Shelby, welcome.
How's it going?
Going good. How are you doing?
Well, my kids are still asleep, so life is good right now.
That's a good thing. Okay, good, good.
But when they wake up, I might be muted for a while because my husband's on a Zoom meeting as well.
Think things might happen when when your kids wake up.
Yes. How have
No,
you been?
I've been great. Thanks for asking.
Busy?
Very busy.
Yeah, I can imagine people are home doing their thing, I guess.
People are home and they are doing their thing for sure. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. There's Heather Dahl. Hey, Heather Dahl.
Brandon, it's been a long time.
It's been a little bit. How you doing?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. There's Heidi Ross. Heidi Ross, what's happening?
Glad to be
How are
here.
you? We have Sarah and Christina and Danielle and Jim, but I can't see your faces, guys. All I can see are your names. How are you? Welcome to the call. We'll get started in just a few minutes. What I am totally going to recommend is if you guys can bring video on, it'll mean a whole lot more because you guys will be doing some interactions with each other, right? Those of you that have attended events with us before know we don't just sit and talk, so you can just passively hang out and hope everything, you absorb information, but you actually start to experience it. So if you can bring your video on, we'd love to see it. There's Jean. Hey, Jean, how are you? What's going on? It's been a while.
It has been.
There's Michelle, and we got Laura and Donna. Again, if you guys can bring your videos on live and we can see your face, I'd love to do that. Okay, we have a lot of people that are not here yet, so we'll hang tight for just a few more minutes and give everybody a chance to jump on. Yvonne, I haven't seen you for so long. My gosh, what is happening?
I'm still working through the homework you gave me 5 minutes ago.
Okay, who else do we have out there? Let's take a look. We have, I gotta stop sharing or I can't see your guys' names. So Donna, Shelby, Vaughn, Sarah, we just had Clarice. Hey, Clarice, how are you? There's Laura. Laura Pfeiffer, how are you? What's going on?
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I'm glad I'm here.
Looks like it's sunny where you are.
Yeah.
Winter's gone. Winter's over. Okay, we have a large group of people that aren't here, but they may catch the recording. I know a lot of people are, it's the time zone right now. It might be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning where they're at. So they might be watching the recording and that's cool. We get that. We don't want anybody here at 3 in the morning. Clarice, what time is it where you are?
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Yes.
And you're up, you're ready to go. I just saw you, what was in your hands? Was that?
Slingshot.
Okay. She's shooting zings already, or what? What's going on? She got a nitro she's shooting already, like 2 a.m. All right. There's Yvonne. Yvonne and Yvonne are both with us. Okay. Couple more minutes, guys, and we will get started. Nice to see your smiling faces. You guys are all in such a great space, right? Can't wait for this. Maybe. So again, if you guys can come on video, it'll make things so much more impactful. It's your call though. You decide. It's up to you. Completely. I just don't want this to be one of those webinars that you sit and listen and hope to gather some information while you multitask and do other things, right? And you know, it's like maybe I'll absorb some stuff in the background as it comes in, but I'm gonna be busy over here doing these other things and getting more done. So I definitely don't want it to be that thing. We don't want to be another shelf help program. Some of you know all about the shelf help programs, and you have some. How many of you have a shelf help library? You have a shelf help, yeah. A shelf help library behind you. I usually have my shelf help library behind me. Okay, guys, just about one more minute, we'll get started. Make sure we give everybody a chance to get on. We're missing like 15 people. I don't know where they're at. It is the week of July 4th, so that could be where some folks are. I don't know where they're probably not on an airplane somewhere, but maybe they are. Sonia. Hey, Sonia, how are you? Welcome, welcome. All right, guys, let's get started. So welcome to Happily Achieve. There's obviously some reasons you're here. We'll talk more about why you're here, why you engaged in this process, why you took part in this. We'll get to that place. The first thing I want to do, though, is one of my favorite sayings is success is a conscious choice. And I really believe it. I believe success is a conscious choice. I believe happiness is a conscious choice. There are literally 4,000 emotions for in the English language for emotions, and I think they're all a choice. So do me a favor. You took the time, you invested your energy to be here. So do me a favor, pick your right hand up. That's this one. And wrap it around and say, good choice for being here.
Good choice for
Nice choice for being here. If there's anybody next to you, you can pat them on the back and say, good choice for being there, for being here. But definitely give yourself some kudos for being here. Good choice. Okay, so Happily Achieve. I'm going to talk briefly. Some of you know me. Some of you don't know me. It's totally okay. I'll tell you a little bit more about me, and then we'll jump in and we'll dig into you and what's going on with your thought processes and what's happening at a core level. So just a little bit about me. You guys may or may not know who I am. My name is Brandon Barber. We have the Brandon Barber Coaching Group. We've been helping entrepreneurs, direct sales professionals, network marketers for the last, oh my gosh, now it's been, I think, 19 years. So for the last 19 years, we've been digging in and helping people with one thing, and it's mindset. We're not here to help you run your business better. I'm not here to give you business skills. You guys already know that. You have that dialed in. I want to talk to you today about mindset and more about mindset. That's what we've done for the last 18, 19 years with people, is help them with where is their mindset and what's going on. What might be getting in your way? What might be holding you back? What might be getting you stuck? What might be the thing that is the source? How many of you have heard this? You've heard the stories, or people have told you you're getting in your own way. How many of you have heard that? Or you've even said that to yourself, I'm getting in my own way, but you don't know what that means or what that looks like. You're like, okay, I'm getting in my own way, but how and what does it mean? And explain that in detail, and nobody really can. And so you're left going, hey, I'm getting in my own way, but how? I remember growing up in corporate America, people would come to me and say, hey, you're getting in your own way. And I'd say, how? I know I'm getting in my own way. Does that mean that I suck or I'm a bad person or there's something wrong with, like, what is it? Like, help me understand. And they never really couldn't tell me what's getting in my own way. So we're going to talk a lot about, hey, these are some of the hidden areas that could be getting in your own way. And today's all about this concept of achievement, right? And how we go to a level of achievement, maybe in an unhealthy way. And you're obviously here for one of those reasons. What I've done in my life is constantly try to achieve at high levels, I've done my best to make everybody in my life happy. I don't know if some of you relate to that. I have 4 kids and I have an amazing, incredible wife. We've raised these 4 kids together, but most of my time has been spent trying to make them happy, trying to achieve at high levels for them so that I can be okay with myself. I don't know if some of you relate to that. I've had massive struggles in my life around anxiety. In my late 20s, I had such severe anxiety that I became agoraphobic. And literally for 3 years, I had a panic attack a day for 3 years. I've struggled with health issues, adrenal fatigue. I achieved at such a high level that I got adrenal fatigue and I literally couldn't function. My health deteriorated. I've had issues, problems, struggles in my marriage. We've overcome those. I've had every single struggle and issue that I've had in my life comes down to this. How in the world can I learn and grow so that I can contribute to somebody in a bigger way? So what I do is I become militant, relentless in figuring out what's going on, what's causing the problem, what's the issue, what's the struggle, digging in at a deep level and figuring out what the answers are. So I'm going to bring some of those to you today. That's my goal, to really help you see what I've found around achieving and why we achieve and what it causes. And when we're at that achievement level and we're pushing so hard, how it can impact us. And how to really get to a place where you live in a place that's more of striving in a healthy way, right? Not achieving out of an unhealthy way. Because what we find is that there's at times this burnout that happens. In fact, let me ask all of you this question. Tell me a little bit more. I'm curious, how many of you feel like you're constantly striving and it's never quite enough? How many of you feel like you're constantly striving and it's not really enough? Is that anybody? Like you feel to some degree like you're not doing enough. How many of you feel like gosh, I could do more? You see other leaders doing this and you're like, gosh, what are they doing? And what did they do for convention? And what did they do for this? And what did they do for that? And I'm watching all this stuff happen and how can I constantly be doing more? How many of you feel that way? Okay, cool. Just making sure. We had a discussion this morning about being enough, right, Yvonne? How many of you feel like you're burned out? Like you really feel a little burned out with what's going on? You're burned out with your business. All right, a couple of you. Some of you are like, no, I don't feel. How about a little bit unmotivated about how to go do more? You know you need to do more, but you feel a little unmotivated about how to get yourself motivated to go do more. Feel that? Okay, all right. How many of you feel, I'm curious, you feel like you're a little bit unsatisfied with the way things are going? You're unsatisfied with your business, or you're unsatisfied with your results, or you're just feeling some unsatisfaction. Anybody feeling that? Okay, all right. So just making sure you guys are in the right place. How many of you feel like you're capable of way more? You could just, you can achieve more, and you know you're capable of it, but for some reason you're just not, or you're not quite getting to that place or that level. Okay, cool. So you know you're in the right place. I'm curious, what else? What else for you is showing up on a day-to-day basis where you're like, hey, this is getting me stuck. This is holding me back. This is where I'm at right now in my life when it comes to achievement that's really getting me stuck and holding me back. I'm curious. What else? I know it's difficult to be the first one to share, but go ahead, take a stab at it. What is it for you? Did I already nail it? Or what is it for you? What's the thing for you that's like, hey, this is for me. I'm at this place in my business, or I'm at this place in my life when it comes to achievement. Where are you? You're obviously not satisfied.
I'll go. Mine's just priorities right now.
Okay.
So I don't know, like it probably falls into several of those categories, but little kids, homeschooling, pregnant, like it's choosing which one's your priority.
So it's what do I do? Like I have all this stuff to do, and what do I take on next? Or what do I do first? Or what do I do?
Or what's most important to you in the moment right now?
So do you feel like to some degree, Shelby, you're reactive to a lot of what's happening right now, and you're just reacting to things, and whatever's most important or whatever is the most squeaky right now, that's the thing you take on?
No, it's just I spent so much time on this in the beginning that now I don't want to miss the time with my kids. I don't know. Like it's just they're my priority now. I don't even know if that I don't want to like verify if that makes sense, but yeah, I mean, that's just in the beginning, this was a bigger priority. And now I'm kind of cruising along, which I want to do more, but it's like, you're not willing to sacrifice putting in that much time that I did at one time.
So isn't that okay? Like you built the business, is that okay? Or is there something in the in your back of your mind that's like, wait, I got a bigger purpose here and I feel a little guilty.
Yeah. There's a little pressure, of course, because it's my personality to want to like continue to grow and do better. And How many of you relate to this? You feel guilty at times when you're like, hey, my whole goal to get to this point in my business, to get to Diamond, it was about time freedom, money freedom, and here I am. And gosh, now I feel a little guilty for not taking on more or doing more when this was the whole reason maybe not the whole reason, but part of the reason you got to this place or wanted to get to this place was because of time and money freedom. And now you're here and there's still the pressure to do more. How many of you are experiencing this? Yeah, interesting, right? So what's the next thing you do? How do you take it on? What do you do next? How do you deal with this guilt that hangs over you? Let me ask you this. What do you want? Like, I'm curious, how many of you want, like, it's like, if I could have anything right now, if there was a gap between where life is and reality, there was a gap. Let's say there's a gap there. What do you want? Do you want a stronger business? You want stronger leaders? How many of you want a stronger business without doing much more? How many of you want stronger leaders? How many of you want leaders that'll just follow through with what they tell themselves to do? Okay? Yes. What else? How many of you want true joy in your journey? You want to find more passion and joy in what you're doing? Yeah. How many of you would like less stress? Okay, a couple of you. Some of you are like, I like stress. Give me some more. It's good. It fuels me. Right? What else? What do you want? We know what you don't want. What do you want? Tell me what you want, what you're really after. Go for it.
I feel like I can kind of relate, but I also feel like if my time was just spent more efficiently, like I feel like a lot of times I don't have a problem pushing. I don't have a problem with priorities. I don't have a problem spending a lot of time because I love what I do. I just feel like sometimes there's hills and valleys where oh, I'm going to do this thing. It's going to be amazing. And then it doesn't work. And I'm like, I just spent all that time on this project and it did not work. And here I am starting all over again. And so that's what I want. I feel like I know that a lot of us, we've never done this before. This is like new to us. So we're like learning as we go. And I wish there was a little bit more of a roadmap at our level so that we knew how to work more efficiently, less time, and, and still build. So that's what I want.
Okay, that's what you want. Good. All right. We'll address that. I promise we'll address that as a leader. Because how many of you are looking for the roadmap? Like, I just want the roadmap. Gosh, if somebody could just give me the roadmap. But you also would love the roadmap for parenting. You'd love the roadmap for your significant other in your relationship, right? What that looks like. And it's like, just tell me what to do. But at the same time, you don't like to be controlled and told what to do. It's very interesting. I want the roadmap, but at the same time, Kim, let's face it, you want to blaze your own trail. Like, Kim, if we dropped you and your entire team, let's just say we dropped you and your top 10 leaders in the middle of an open jungle. And we dropped you in this opening and we said, you got to get out. So get out. You're in the middle of this opening, but it's surrounded by all these trees. You need to go get out. And there's one machete over there. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Kim? There's one machete.
Go for it. I'm going to go for it.
You're going to go grab the machete. You're going to start blazing a trail. And you're going to be like, after about an hour, you're sweating and you're like blazing this trail. And you look behind you and there's nobody following you. How many of you relate to that as in your leadership style? You're blazing the trail, you're going for it, but there's nobody following. So you run back to the clearing and everybody's wandering around aimlessly. And you're like, what is happening? So we want the roadmap, but at the same time, we're wanting to create our own roadmap because we're independent, we're strong, we're overachievers. And so you're creating your own roadmap. Kind of interesting, right? Becomes a dichotomy. I've heard people on your team say this. I just wish somebody would tell me what to do. How many of you have told them what to do? You've given them the how and they don't follow through with it. So they say they want it, but do they? Because they don't want to be controlled. So subconscious sometimes gets in their way. What else? If there's a gap between the way things are and the way you want them to be, what else would you guys want?
I could go.
Go for it.
I think one thing that I spend little pockets of it is like, I love to work. I love the creative flow, but when there's pressure, and the tyranny of the urgent and meeting a deadline, all that, then the creative flow is done. So like in a utopian world, like I would just be able to create and like without any kind of outside pressure. And without that, like I can work like even harder than if there is pressure. Like pressure stagnates my mind.
So is it that you don't want pressure and you don't want that outside pressure and you want to just be able to flow and things have flow like easily and not have this angst out there that's pushing you?
I think it's the angst as opposed to like a good healthy motivation and think good healthy pressure is not a bad thing. It's not want to sit on the beach all day. In fact, I was at the beach this weekend and I went home and work, so it's like that, but it is like love that feeling of being able to create something and when things are going well, like doing things, but as soon as there is some like external pressure of something, expectation or I don't know, just, when it's too much. So like I related to Shelby too, like it's almost like I need a clarity of my actual priorities because a million things I want to do with that right now.
I want it handled. I got all this. Your brain has all these ideas and concepts. I want it handled. I want it done right now. But something's eating at me and I don't know what it is. Is it pressure? Is it angst? Is it some burning inside of me that doesn't necessarily feel good? And what do I do with all that energy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah. We'll address that for sure. What else? What else is the gap? The gap between where you are and you want to be.
I'll go ahead, Brandon.
Go for it.
Balance. Because I feel like that I'm so torn between, business and kids and trying to be enough in every area. Then I just back up so it's like I kind of throw my hands up and not give up, because I'll never give up, but I just find torn in so many different directions that then I don't accomplish anything in any area, because I do know that I'm an overachiever, I'm a perfectionist, I'm all of that. So then I feel like that it even takes away that creative flow from me, because then it's nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So balance, is that a reality? Like we hear, can you create
No.
half balance? Can it be 50-50? Is it 60-40? Where's their balance? If somebody said to you right now, hey, I'm ready. I want to go gold. Like I'm taking this business serious. I want to go gold, but I want to work about an hour a day. What are you going to tell them?
They're not being realistic at all.
Yeah.
They don't really want it.
It's going to take a little bit, right? It's going to take some time. Oh, you want it in a couple of years? Okay. An hour a day, you might be able to do that. Oh, you want it now? Well, what are you going to do? How much time are you going to put in? There might have to be some imbalance in your life. So is the balance you're talking about time, or is the balance you're talking about how much mental capacity you give to something? What's the balance you're really talking about?
I find that I'm trying to, and this is being really raw, I'm trying to find areas that my kids can be busy, so then I can have more time for my business and things like that. And then I feel such guilt because I know that they need more of me instead of trying to occupy them with doing something else.
So the balance isn't quantity. It's not a number. It's not a time. The balance is here. It's feeling balanced in your brain. And that's a real thing. Feeling balanced in your brain is absolutely real. A balance of time, this is where we get caught up. 8 hours here, 8 hours here, 3 hours here, 3 hours there. It's not a balance of time. That's not what it's about. It's about feeling balanced internally. So it's all about what's going on mindset-wise. That's the balance you're looking for. If you feel good inside, it doesn't matter how much time you're spending here or here, does it?
Yeah.
Because now you know I'm spending quality time here and quality time here. I feel balanced internally. What if I told you all that because of the overachiever that's built within you, there's never going to feel like there's a balance, because you're never going to be achieving enough. You'll never, ever, ever achieve enough. It'll never feel like you've achieved enough. You'll always need to achieve more. It's built within you. So what if you can accept that, but do it in a way that's healthy? Like, I want you to look at, I'm going to share my screen, and I want you to look at, this is the happiness formula that I think most of us, and maybe most of you, will follow. So in other words, I'll be happy when my life conditions equal my expectations. When my life conditions equal my expectations, then they'll bring me happiness, right? And if my life conditions don't equal my expectations, I'm not going to be happy. And this is the pattern that most of us run. This is the formula that we run, right, as an overachiever. So think about it. I have my expectations. Let me do everything I can to run around and change my life conditions, whatever that is, more things, more people, more achievement. And then my expectations are met. What's the problem with this formula? What happens when you guys meet your expectation?
They change.
New ones.
You just raise them. You just raise your expectations for a higher expectation, and then run around and try to change your life conditions to meet your expectations, and then you'll be happy. And the minute they're met, how long did you guys enjoy getting to diamond? You got to diamond, and then what? How long did you just bask in it and go, I'm here, yes, good, done, finished, complete? Or what did you do? How do I go crown? And then when you got to crown, for those of you that got to crown, then what? It's like, then I go royal crown. And then it's like, what? What's next? You've traveled all the places you want to travel. You've got the time freedom, that you met those expectations. You probably live in the house you want to live in. And then what? What's next? More expectations, more expectations. In other words, it's never, ever, ever enough because of this formula. You guys relate to this? Anybody relate to this one? Anybody not relate? You're like, no, this is wrong. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm really happy. I don't have to meet any expectations.
No, I relate to it because I don't understand the people who hit the goal and don't go for the next one.
What's wrong with those
That
people?
doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can you be satisfied with mediocrity? Like, I don't understand it. I'm just saying that's my personality. That's how I see things. I don't know if anybody else does, but.
What if it's not your personality and it's your brain?
Or my brain, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm an
Let
Enneagram.
me ask you this. Are you married?
Oh yes, 37 years.
What's your significant other's name?
Eric.
Eric. So tell me, does Eric follow this model, or is his a little different?
No, he's the same way.
So he's pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
Both are, yes. We
So
both
do
love
you have anybody in your life who is content? And you're like, what is wrong with you over there being content?
people on my team, but not in my family.
Now, are they content or are they comfortable?
Probably comfortable.
Yeah, that's very different.
Yes, that makes sense.
They might be comfortable with misery. They might be comfortable with suffering. Are they content? How many of you know people that are content? They're just absolutely happy with life the way it is. And you're like, what is wrong with you? But isn't that really what we're after? Aren't we after that content feeling? And the overachiever in us goes, no way, we got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So what if the answer to this formula is to not have more expectations, but to actually remove expectations? Think about this. What's the ultimate failure? What would be the ultimate failure in your life? The ultimate failure. If you thought about somebody that is failing the most in life, the ultimate failure would be what? And probably the first thing that comes to mind is somebody that's not out working their goals. Somebody that's not out going after something. Somebody that's not pushing for something. That's the most ultimate failure, right? But what if that's not the ultimate failure? What if the ultimate failure is succeeding, but not feeling fulfilled? Achieving over and over and over again, but not experiencing the fulfillment of it. Think about it. Who in the world right now can you think of, or maybe in the past, who can you think of who achieved massive success, but wasn't fulfilled? And all you have to do is look in Hollywood. Like, that's a good place to look.
Robin Williams.
Ah, Robin Williams. That's interesting. Yeah, I have a picture of Robin Williams. Robin Williams, like, how many of you truly, you loved Robin Williams? You absolutely loved Robin Williams. Robin Williams was like somebody you absolutely loved. How many of you loved him? How many of you, one of his movies impacted your life dramatically? Right? And if you put your top 5 movies, he's going to be in one of them at least, right? I would say he's in 2 of my top 5. Robin Williams. We can say Chris Farley, John Belushi. Recently, there's a number of people. Chris Cornell, one of my favorite all-time bands. Those of you, this dates me a little bit. Go back to the 90s and grunge. Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, one of my favorite singers. What do these guys all have in common? What do these people have all in common? Kate Spade, right? They all have one thing in common. Anthony Bourdain, massive success, but not fulfillment. This man was totally successful. He was working on the streets and making something like $150 a week, working on the streets, performances, and then somebody found him and put him into a sitcom as a guest performance. Anybody remember the show that he was a guest on? What was the TV show that Robin Williams was a guest on? It was Happy Days.
Oh, Happy
It was
Days.
like the most Happy Days episode that was ever watched. They immediately spun it into a sitcom, Mork and Mindy, and then became the #1 sitcom in America. I think in all of North America. And successful, oh my gosh, then he went and became an actor and got an Academy Award for being funny. Then he got an Academy Award for not being funny. I mean, successful, more money than this guy ever thought he'd do, the success that he's achieved, constantly achieving. Was he successful? Absolutely. And success is important. Achieving is important. Success leaves clues. So all you gotta do is watch for these clues and people leave them. Success is important. Let me ask you, was Robin Williams fulfilled? What's the common theme with all of these people that I've mentioned? They had massive success, but no fulfillment. Why? Because this was their formula. Let me make my life conditions equal my expectations, and then I'll be happy. And they kept raising the bar over and over and over. Don't get me wrong. I think it's important to set goals. I think it's massively important to push yourself. I think it's very important to achieve. I think it's critical. I've been achieving my whole life, but are you doing it in a healthy way? Are you doing it for the right reasons, or are you doing it for the wrong reasons? Hang on, I'm gonna check the chat section. Some of you are writing some chats. There's some chats in here. Yes, they committed suicide. This man hung himself. Yeah, not fulfilled. So the ultimate failure, you might wanna write this down, success without fulfillment. And it's from chasing this formula over and over and over again. So what I love to do is to dig into your subconscious and to really find out, hey, subconsciously, what's really going on with you guys? What's happening at a subconscious level? Like, what if we could find out the stuff that is getting in your way? Somebody says, hey, you're getting in your own way. You'll know what that is because you have the subconscious proof to do it. Now, how many of you took our assessment? Let me ask this differently. How many of you did not take our assessment? How many of you are going, I don't even know what you're talking about. What assessment? Okay. So Tracy and Kim, it's okay. It's all right. But I eventually want you to take it. We tried to email you, I don't know, 15 or 20 times to take it. Please take it. Please take it. And I'm sure it went to spam. And some of you are like, I can't even check all my emails because I get thousands of them anyway. I get it. But if you didn't take the assessment, take it tonight. Don't need to worry about it today. Take it tonight. It's at brandonbarbercoaching.com. It's an assessment like nothing else. Like, how many of you took it and you're like, this is like nothing I've ever taken before? Yes, because it's not a personality test. Most of us take tests that are personality tests and they tell us about ourselves. In other words, we take an assessment that like the DISC, or we take an assessment that the color code, or we do the Enneagram, or we look at something that tells us, or I look at the fact, I look at my horoscope. I'm a Virgo and I have this, 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 and this, right? It tells me about me as a person and who I am and some of my attributes. This assessment is not about that. It's about what's going on subconsciously. It's telling you what's going on with your brain. So it has nothing to do with your personality. It's not going to reveal, oh yeah, that's me, that's me, that's me. No, it's actually going to reveal brain scientifically, based on a science, the science of axiology, which says how we value something tells us how we think. So literally this tool, guys, is going to be able to help you see in minutes what takes most therapists, coaches, other people months, sometimes years to figure out. Sometimes years for you to figure out what's going on at a subconscious level. And we're able to do it literally in minutes. So the assessment is critical. Take it tonight. It's okay. Don't worry about taking it right now. You're good. But if you've taken it, I want you to pull it out. I want you to look at it because it's going to reveal a lot of what's going on, a lot of the subconscious sabotage that's getting in your way. And if you haven't taken it, stay with us. You'll still learn a ton. You'll just be able to take it at another time. But ranking those crazy statements, what it came out with are different colors, right? So you guys saw that it came out with green, yellow, orange, and red. If you have any green in your assessment, that's where your areas in your brain where you're getting good advice. Brain is giving you some good advice. Brain, not your personality. It's not who you are. Yellow is when brain starts to say, hey, I want you to follow this advice, but there's potential implications with that advice. Because we know brain has one objective over anything else, and it's to keep you alive. It's to keep you safe. So it's not always giving the best advice. In fact, if we let brain guide us, we're going to probably suffer. A mind that's left undirected is always going to create some suffering, right? Because brain's always looking where it's going to keep us safe. Now, based on your value system, that could be different. Some of you might value adventure more than you value safety. Some of you might value success more than you value comfort. And that's what's got you to the level you're at. There's also some issues or problems around that. But whenever you see yellow, brain's sort of nudging and saying, I want you to follow this bad advice. Whenever there's orange, it's pushing even harder. So it's saying, okay, I want you to follow this bad advice, but now I'm really pushing. And if you have any red, your brain's insisting. So it's saying, you must follow this bad advice. I'm insisting that you do it. Guys, why in the world would you have a brain that insists you follow bad advice? Why would your brain insist that you follow bad advice? Doesn't it want you to be successful? Doesn't it want you to be happy? Doesn't it want you to really be fulfilled? Why would your brain give you bad advice and insist you follow it? Anybody have thoughts about that? Anybody have any past? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Maybe a perceived threat.
Okay, so there's a perceived threat, and so brain says, this is how I need to go about it because this is gonna keep me from the pain or avoid the threat. Absolutely, yeah. How many of you, it's survival? Like it's just the story that you grew up in, and in order to survive, you had to have this thought process. Past patterns, Heidi, absolutely. Maybe it's just past patterns. We got attached to a certain way of thinking, and that's what we do. It's just how we do it. It's home to us, right? What else? Why would your brain give you some bad advice and then insist that you follow it? Safety, absolutely. Protecting you from some pain. Protecting your ego, that's a good one, Christina, absolutely. Protecting significance. Maybe it just thought, hey, this is the path I need to take in order to become successful. This is the path I need to take to be okay. This is the path I need to take to be loved. Let's face it, brain is doing two things. It's avoiding pain and it's gaining pleasure. You guys know that, you teach that. So why is your brain giving such bad advice? And then insisting. And here's the thing about these areas, they're blind spots. What that means is that it's not gonna be like, I know this. If you knew it, you wouldn't necessarily follow it. So these areas that go out left and right, and I'll show you, I'll give you an example of these 6 areas. Here's what it looks like. Here's where one of them looks like. You'll have bars that go to the left, the bars that go to the right, green, yellow, orange, and red. Again, look at the second bar off to the left, red, third bar off to the right, red. That's where brain is insisting that you follow this bad advice. Now there's 6.4 quadrillion ways that you can take this assessment. And it changes over time. Every 3 to 6 months, it might change based on what's going on in your life. But wherever you took this, believe it or not, it gave us the results of what's going on subconsciously. And the further out those bars move, the harder your brain's insisting, and the more of a blind spot it is, the more of autopilot you're on. The green stuff's good, yellow, orange, red, that's the stuff that's creating issues. That's the stuff that's creating problems. That's where you could say you're getting in your own way. Now, at the bottom of each one of these areas, there's 6 areas, there's a score. This isn't a grade. So some of you went, great, I'm getting a C- in life. It's not a grade, right? It just tells us overall how balanced this thought process is, right? So there's green, yellow, orange, red, and they can go in either direction. If they move to the left, your brain's undervaluing something. And if they move to the right, it's overvaluing something. And every single one of these bars, there's 36 bars. There's 6 areas that each has 6 areas. 36 bars, literally each one of those has a mathematical algorithm built into it. It's based on intrinsic, extrinsic, systemic. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the sciencey mechanics of this. If you want more information about it, you can look up the science of axiology and dig into it in more detail, or talk to me and I'll give you more details about the mathematics. But believe it or not, this assessment is scientifically proven based on this creation by Robert Hartman telling you what's going on with brain. Not personality, not who you are, but 100% what's going on with brain. Now, does anybody have any questions about the actual mechanics of the assessment? Any questions? What if you took it tomorrow? Would it change? Nope. You'd probably get the same, unless something dramatic, and I mean dramatic, happened today. If you're in a better mood tomorrow, it's not going to change. Because again, it's subconscious that put the value on those things. Any questions? And again, notice as we dig through this, some of you might go, that's me, or that's not me. It's neither, it's brain. Any questions? This will be the first if nobody asks at least one question about this assessment, which is really cool. I'm good with it. No questions?
Okay, I'll ask a question. So at one point in there, as I got towards the end of the second page, I don't know, this is kind of bad to admit, but I kind of felt like, I don't know, and these are really bad and these are not bad. And so I'm just going to stick them places and all right, this can go up there. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. So did I mess it up?
Are you asking whether or not you overthought it or not?
Oh.
Some people overthought it. Some people just went, hey, this goes here, this goes here. And remember the stuff in the middle, like nonsense and, you know, it's like, where do we put nonsense? I can kind of go here. I bet it goes here, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's okay. You took it right. If you have a score that's above at least 25 or 30, then you took the assessment right. If you don't have a score that's above 25 or 30 in 3 or more areas, then you didn't understand the assessment. So that means that you went, oh, blowing up an airliner, that's such a bad thing, but I value it a lot. And you put it number 1, 2, or 3. And we either know that there's some terroristic thoughts that you might have, or you took the assessment wrong. And so we're probably thinking it's the latter, right? But if you have a score above 30 in all of these areas, or at least in 5 or more of them, you took the assessment correctly.
Okay.
Your subconscious put value on them and ranked them in certain places. That's all that happened. Consciously, you moved them around and you started to think about them. Some of you overthought things. Oh my gosh, should I put this 8, 9? And then it just ended up being somewhere. And here's the thing, ranking something 6th or 9th or 10th is not going to have a dramatic impact on this assessment. It's when you make something good, bad. It's when you make something bad, good. That's when it has a dramatic impact. When something should be slotted in around 4 and you put it around 14, that's when you're going to have a big shift. But again, it's because of how you value something or how your mind perceives it. And based on that, we know how you think in these 6 primary areas. By the way, I've never seen anybody get 100 in all 6 areas, so that doesn't exist. And it's not a bad thing to see where these bars are out to the left or the right. It's actually a good thing because you want to identify the stuff that's getting in your way, what's holding you back. So it's actually not a bad thing to see these areas off to the left or the right. let's jump in and we'll give you an example right from the get-go. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna start, I'm not gonna do these in order. And some of you that like things in order, you're gonna be a little bit irritated by this and bugged by it. You like things, right, done in order. But we're gonna actually do it in the opposite order. So we're gonna do we're gonna look at the internal world instead of the external world. When we say internal world, it's like you looking inside of how you view it internally versus how you view the external world. It's all what brain's doing, but it's like this. The external world is like looking out a window and seeing the world and how you view it. The internal is like putting a mirror in front of the window. So we're gonna look at the internal world first. We're gonna look at what drives you and motivates you internally. What's your internal motivation? We're gonna look at your joy in the journey, how much joy you're really finding in the day-to-day life, your roles you play. And then we're gonna look at your self-esteem, not confidence, but esteem, how you view the value of yourself. And then tomorrow we'll dig into the 3 external areas and how you connect with people, how you handle and do things, how you CEO life. And then we'll look at your thinking about thinking, which is a massive area. And I'll show you guys some really interesting things about what's causing you more stress in your life than anything else. But let's look at the internal world first. So we're gonna skip over the first 3. So if you have your report printed off, I don't know if you printed the 40-page report or just the 6-page or the 10 pages, the summary, or you have it pulled up, doesn't matter. But I want you to go to the mental creation section. Mental creation. So the order that you'll find mental creation is first there's connection, then there's physical creation, then there's disciplined thinking, then there's mental creation. So go to mental creation. It's in your internal world. If you're pulling it up online, you'll find it in the internal world. And again, if you haven't taken it, it's okay. Kim and Tracy, you're good. You can take it later. You can take notes. We'll also send you the recording of this so you'll have it and you'll be able to see what's going on. So mental creation. Anybody need more time to find this? Okay, cool. All right. So this is going to show you what's literally guiding you and motivating you on a day-to-day basis. What is your internal motivation and guidance? Now, how many of you have, well, let's look at this. How many of you have this 3rd bar off to the right? It said vision for my life. 3rd bar, vision for my life. It's right here. How many of you have this going off to the right? Raise your hand. All right. Yeah, I've looked at your assessments ahead of time, so I know. There's only one person on this call that doesn't have this 3rd bar off to the right. In fact, 95% of you have this off to the right, and I think it's about 70% of you have it all the way to the right. How many of you have this bar all the way to the right? Here's what this bar says. Here's what brain is insisting that your brain do, or that you do. It's telling you, look at what the words are, vision for my life, to be a vivid visionary. Now, that's not a bad thing, right? Visualize what you want. How many of you have manifested things in your life you've wanted? You've thought about them and you manifest them. Absolutely. Manifestation isn't a bad thing. So why would this vision for my life and going off to the right be a vivid visionary? Why would that be a bad thing? Anybody have any ideas? Vivid visionary. Vision for my life. I'm a vivid visionary.
An inability to stay in the present.
Okay. Yeah, because it spends time where?
Future.
Dream.
Yeah, so a lot of time in the future. And if you're spending all your time in the future, it's hard to get in flow because you're not in the present moment. Absolutely. That's spot on. What else?
It also plays into that whole contentment piece. If I'm always in the future, then I'm not content with the good things that are here right now.
How many of you have a question? Sarah, that's spot on. How many of you have a question internally that says, how can I make things better? And you're constantly in your mind, how do I make this better? How do I make this better? Yeah, it's like I'll be on the beach in Hawaii with my family and everybody will be on the beach enjoying everything, and I'll have the book open to the best beaches on the Big Island, right? And I'll be like, how do I make this better? How do I make this better? And I'm like, honey, we got to go to this other beach over here. It's like way better. There's mangroves and shade, and it's better surf, and the kids will have way better time. And she's like, well, why can't we just enjoy where we're at, what we're doing? Well, we got to go to the better beach, right? How many of you have done this? Yes. Got to make it better. Got to make it better. Got to make it better. It's never good enough. And we think that's the stuff that drives me to be the person I am today. Actually, what's crazy is it's the stuff that's getting in our way because we're not content. We'll achieve no matter what because we're achievers. That's what we do. It's built in us. It's just, are you happily achieving or achieving to be happy? There's a massive difference in how it feels here and here. This third bar, what it does is it creates a blueprint for how it wants things to look. It creates a blueprint for your business. It creates a blueprint for your relationship. It creates a blueprint for how it wants your kids to be. It creates a blueprint for how it wants your significant other to be. It creates a blueprint for life. But here's the trick. Subconscious doesn't know the difference between perfection and reality. So what it does is it creates the perfect blueprint. And then reality shows up. And what are the chances that reality shows up perfect? Never. So think about it. We're never quite satisfied because life can never really meet our expectations. If life conditions equal our expectations, we're happy. What if life never can because our expectations are built within this blueprint that's perfect? How many of you have ever been frustrated with your significant other because they didn't act the way they were supposed to? How many of you have been frustrated with your kids because they didn't act the way they were supposed to? How many of you are frustrated with your team because they're not acting the way they're supposed to? It's because brains created a blueprint, a perfect blueprint of how they're supposed to be. If your bar is off to the right. Expectations are premeditated resentment. How many of you have been disappointed or frustrated at things? Like I've been in Hawaii and I've been frustrated in paradise because our hotel room was supposed to overlook the beach and it overlooked the parking lot. Frustrated. Then the day we were supposed to do the road to Hana or go on the kayaking trip or do the horseback trip, it rained. How dare it do that? In Hawaii, it's raining. What's going on, right? Frustrated because I created an expectation, disappointed. My kids are fighting on the trip. My kids are bored. You're bored in Hawaii? What? How many have experienced this? And you've been irritated or frustrated yourself in the middle of paradise. It's because of expectations. Expectations are premeditated resentment, but they're also premeditated frustration and disappointment. Because we've created the perfect blueprint, the way it's supposed to look, the ideal vision. The subconscious creates the perfect scenario. You think about it. Have you ever sat around with your team and you said, okay, guys, let's visualize our dream home or what you want your business to look like? When they're visualizing, they're creating the perfect scenario. Manifestation is about, I want it to happen. I know it's going to happen. Now I let go of it. And I detach from the outcome. That's manifestation at its finest is not thinking about it and breathing and how's it gonna look and it's gotta look like this and it's gotta smell like this and it's gotta taste like this and now I gotta think about it every day. That's not manifesting. That's obsessing. And now we get so attached to the way it looks and the way it smells and the way it tastes and perfectly that we want life to show up just like that. And then when life shows up different, we get disappointed or we have this thing called an amygdala hijack. Right? Daniel Goleman, is that his name? What's his name? Emotional intelligence. He coined the phrase amygdala hijack. The part of your brain that creates fight, flight, or freeze hijacks the prefrontal cortex, and now we can't function because life shows up different than it's supposed to. Anybody have thoughts about this? Comments, questions, concerns? This is a massive component to this formula. When my life conditions meet my expectations, I'll be happy. What if you let go of your expectations? Don't lower them, just get rid of them. And this will mess with the overachiever in you. She's like, what? I gotta have expectations or else I won't achieve anything. Well, the truth of the matter is you're built to achieve. Expectations are actually slowing you down. They're not fueling you. Most of us think that expectations are fueling us, but they're not. They're actually getting in our way.
I have a question, Brandon.
Go for it.
So I spend a lot of time teaching people to be big visionaries and hold that what they want in their mind and keep that consistent in their mind. And so if you're trying to work for something bigger and something greater, so where does the balance, I'm going back to that word balance, but like, you don't want to shut it down. Like even with myself, I still want to keep that big goal in view, but how do you, so then your daily life, I don't know how to ask this. Where is the happy medium in it all?
Yeah, I want you to go after goals. I want you to help your team set goals. The why is always more important than the how. You've given them the how. So the why is important, right? It gives them leverage. So you want to have a why. A why is really important. But when you have them spend all this time thinking about it and how it's going to look and breathe it and smell it and taste it. Again, if their brain's creating the perfect scenario, it's always coming up short. Life's always coming up short. It's always falling short. And they're frustrated and they're disappointed. And they go, what's wrong with me? How come I can't make it happen like Heidi? I'm stuck here at silver and I can't make it to diamond. What's wrong with me? I'm doing everything she's telling me to do. I'm manifesting. It's not happening. What's going on? So here's the objective. Help them find their leverage as to why it's important to work on things, but don't have them spend so much time focused on the outcome. Daily outcome, 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 because where are they going to spend most of their time? The outcome or the process? I'm not saying don't have goals, but you're going to spend so much time in the process. Like working with people, what's going to motivate them right now? Contribution is the goal you guys all want, to be able to contribute in a bigger level. If we're going after contribution, it's key. If we're digging into, I got to achieve something to be significant, it's never enough. Now you go, I don't care. I just want a bunch of people like me because then I'll grow to the top. But then you're going to have a bunch of people that are unhappy, right? Because it's never going to be enough. So you're going to have a bunch of yous that are going to be griping at you going, hey, what's going on? This isn't enough. Now you go, that's a problem I'd rather have than the problem I have, which is nobody's doing what they, or at least everybody's not doing what they're saying they're going to do. Maybe. But here's what I would give you. The concept of helping them find leverage in their life, the why, the pain if they don't take action and the pleasure if they do, but not get so attached to the way things are going to look. Because you know as well as I do what's going to happen. They're going to go out there, they're going to get attached to the way it's going to look, their dream, it's going to look like this, and then they get hit with the first obstacle, and what happens? Oh, yep, see, life's not giving me what I want. Maybe it's exactly what they want and exactly what it's supposed to happen to make them a better leader. But they'll immediately have this amygdala hijack, and then they'll get stuck. I'm reading some text or some chats here. Sorry, guys, I'm a little behind on these. Goals are awesome. Here's what I think a goal is. A goal is set not to achieve. A goal is set because of who you become in the process of going after it. If you want fulfillment, if you just want to achieve and you just want to teach achievement to other people, awesome. Goals are created because it's good living. But they're who you become in the process of achieving them. Now, what's the source? What fuels you then? Watch this. What really fuels you? Look at the top 3 areas or the top 3 bars in your assessment. How many in mental creation, how many of you have the top bar off to the left? You may have the top bar off to the left. So that tells me that your source of motivation is obligation. I have to do something. Think about a deadline. You work really well with deadlines, right? If I'm obligated to do it, I'll do it. I have to. How many of you have the second bar off to the right? That's expectation, motivated out of your expectations for you to be perfect. I need me to be perfect. So now you're motivating yourself out of some obligation and now some perfection. I need me to show up perfectly. And you go, no, it's not perfect. It's just excellent. Brain doesn't know the difference, subconscious. So you're really after your own perfection. I gotta go get it done perfectly. And think about it. It's never enough, is it? Never quite enough. You never quite achieve it at the level you want. It can always be better, always be better, always be better. If you spend too much time there, that second bar will go off to the left and you'll end up burned out. Now the third bar off to the right, we've already talked about, but that's a lot of motivation around expectation and fear. So if you look at these three areas, what's your internal source or guidance or motivation? Let's say it's one of these three areas, or let's say maybe it's all three. Here's what ends up happening. If you're motivated by this thought process, so obligation, perfection, or fear, it's going to eventually make you tired. Now, maybe this is day to day, or week to week, or month to month, or year to year, but eventually you get tired in some way, shape, or form. Think about it. I have to. I must, I should, I need to, I ought to, I'm supposed to. How many of you have kids and you tell them they have to go do something and you watch their energy just get sucked out of them? Right? It's like, you have to go do this. And they're like, oh, I don't feel like it. I'm sick. I have a headache. Right? How many of you have this? Go on. Yes, kids don't want to have to do anything. It makes them exhausted. We're no different. We don't want to have to. We don't want to should. We don't want to must. Makes us tired. And then the rebel shows up. Right? We have to and must and should. We're like, wait a second. Do I have to? And we rebel against what we have to, must, and should do. And then avoidance always shows up in some way, shape, or form. We want to avoid it, not do it, not take it to the level we want to take it. But then we feel guilty. I didn't do this thing. Gosh, I didn't follow through with what I told myself to do. I feel guilty. So we recommit and go back and do what we have to, must, and should. So the cycle continues. How many of you relate to this with some of the tasks in your life? How many of you in business, a lot of what you're doing in business falls into this cycle? It's because your internal motivation is, I have to. I should, I must, I need to be enough. That's our greatest fear. Our greatest fear is being enough. 100 million years ago, our greatest fear was a saber-toothed tiger. Today, being enough is our saber-toothed tiger. I gotta stack up. I gotta have worth. I gotta have value. What a better way to do it than achievement. If I can achieve at these high levels, I'm enough. Here's the problem. You know it's never enough. How do we fix this? Sarah says I can relate, so how do we fix? I'll give you the how-to, I promise. What if you were motivated not out of a have to, must, and should, but out of a choice? I choose to, right? You know, when you give kids a choice, would you like to do it now or in 15 minutes? They always say 15 minutes, but at least now they have a choice. So when you do things out of choice, what's interesting is it doesn't make you tired, it gives you energy. When you do things out of a choice and now you have energy, you don't rebel something, you don't rebel a task, you embrace it. There's no reason to avoid it, you just take action. Think about the things you want to do. It's like, I have to do this, but I want to do this. What are you more geared towards? What are you more excited about doing? What will you find the energy to do? You'll figure out a way if you want to do it. If you choose to do it, you'll find a way. If you have to, you might skate around it. You don't feel guilty. Now you're free. You have complete freedom. And then you don't have to recommit because you're just committed. So motivating yourself out of a choice is critical. Pivotal moments in your life when you find the obligation show up, I want you to use these words. I choose to because. And then answer. I choose to because why? Why? What's the answer? I choose to do this thing because I want this, because I want to go after this. I choose to because, and help your team with that, right? Because if they're stuck in this is their cycle. And you're like, no wonder they're not following through with what they tell themselves to do. But if they'll choose it, they'll choose an experience versus have to, must, and should, it'll be a different experience. I choose to because I want to because. Now, language is only part of it, right? So language is only a small piece of it. We know to change your state is critical. There are 3 ways to change your state. 3 ways to change your state in any moment's notice. First one is definitely language. You guys know the value of conscious language. I choose to, I want to. What are the other 2 things that'll massively change your state in any moment's notice? And let's face it, the state you bring to your relationship is the state of your relationship. The state you bring to your business is the state of your business. The state you bring to you is your state. So to change your state, language is one way you change your state. What are some other ways you change your state?
Movement.
Movement, absolutely. Yvonne, physiology. What are you doing with your body? How do you move your body? You guys know this. What's your body doing on a day-to-day basis? How are you holding your body? I go see a woman every single month, once a month, I go see this woman that all she works on is body. And she has this thing called the plumb line. And it's literally a string that hangs from the top of the ceiling down to the bottom with a big silver ring on the bottom of it. And she goes, go stand against the plumb line. So I go stand and put my back against it. And she goes, oh, you've been having some issues with your dad this week. And I'm like, she goes, yeah, childhood issue stuff. I'm like, all I'm doing is standing against this string. And she goes, oh, and I can see there's some stress over here around your business. Yeah, I can tell. And she's like looking at my legs and how my legs are up against the plumb line. Our body tells so much. You guys know this. So she goes, all right, shoulders back, feet this far apart. She says, loosen your butt cheeks, loosen your glutes. She has to say it like 8 times. And I'm like, I am. And she goes, loosen them. And then I'm like, finally relaxing them. And she pushes my shoulders back and my chin back. She puts me in this place. And she goes, how do you feel? And I go, I feel great. And she goes, great. That's $150. I'll see you next month, right? It's body. It's all body. How do we hold our body? What place where are we putting our body? It changes everything. When you think about being frustrated, you go, yeah, how does somebody that's frustrated hold themselves? How does somebody that's burned out hold themselves? What state are you bringing to things? When you walk in the door at the end of the day, or you greet your significant other at the end of the day, or for the first time, what state are you in? If you're in this state, and you've been in that state every time you see your significant other for 10 years, no wonder things are not feeling that great. But if you're like this and excited and happy and you're in a great state and you're holding yourself in a powerful place, what happens? So physiology is massive, right? Sometimes it's just the way we hold our body. Again, preaching to the choir, I'm sure you guys know this. The third thing is focus. Focus, physiology, and language changes the state of anything. It changes our meaning about anything. What are you focused on? Where focus goes, energy flows. If you're focused on the future and constantly achieving, no wonder you're achieving. If you're focused on fulfillment, you're getting fulfilled. Fulfillment's an art, though. That's the thing. Success is a science. Fulfillment's an art. It's different for everybody. It feels different for everybody. Focus, physiology, language. It'll change anything. So no matter how you're being motivated or motivating yourself right now, those 3 areas will change dramatically. But think about it. If your brain's constantly focused on not achieving enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm not enough, you'll constantly need to achieve more. Not from a healthy place, but from an unhealthy place. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns? I'll let you guys take a picture of this if you want, or you can write this down, but this is the triad. This is how do you change the meaning or state in any moment's notice. Just these 3 things.
So how do you focus in the present and be fulfilled and also achieve? Like that. I hope that made sense.
So what if you were just to do what you just said? You just stay present and you allow yourself to achieve. You think that spending time in the future is actually what's fueling you, but it's not. You think that achieving to be enough is fueling you, but it's actually holding you back. It's brain's trick. It's brain's thing. It says, I need to be focused on this to be really going after something. And I'm telling you, you're built to achieve. You just will. You don't have to have expectations to do it. Donna, that's in a sense what you're asking me. How do I let go of my expectations? Then I'll just sit around and do nothing. Do you really think that'll be who you are?
No.
No.
I just think I need to use present time essential oil blend a lot more. That's not one that I don't know about anybody else. I can say that's one I have not used a lot. So I think that's why Gary, I think that's probably why Gary created it. So, all right.
When you get present, think about it. When you get present, when you're 100% present, you're in what's called flow, right? So it's why, I don't know if you guys, has anybody ever read the book? Now I can't think of the name of it. I last trained. Oh, The Rise of Superman. Anybody read that book? It's all about why adventure athletes do what they do. Adventure athletes climb rock walls. They with no rope. They ride 60-foot waves. They do these crazy things. Why do these adventure athletes do these things? Most people think it's out of adrenaline, but it's not. They're not adrenaline junkies. What happens is when they're doing these activities, their brain shuts everything else off and becomes 100% present and focused. They can't be riding a 60-foot wave and be thinking about what they're going to have for dinner later, or how they're going to achieve their next thing down the road in 2 weeks, or what the future is going to look like in their relationship in 6 months. Their brain shuts everything off but what they're doing in the moment. And they're 100% present. And what happens is when they're done, this incredible, amazing thing happens during this process. They have the right amount of chemicals that start to flow from their brain, the right amount of serotonin, the right amount of dopamine, the right amount of norepinephrine. They have this perfect chemical that happens in their brain and they're in flow. And sometimes it lasts for weeks. So it turns out that these adventure athletes aren't adrenaline junkies, they're flow junkies. It puts them in a perfect state. It puts them in what you guys asked earlier about, how do I become balanced? Flow. But if you're constantly having to achieve to be enough, then you're constantly there, looking to what you have to do and have to get done, or how you're not doing enough and that's not present. Yeah, it's a big one. Any other comments or questions or thoughts? Check out how it impacts your journey, or your joy in it at least. Look at the next section that's called Joy in the Journey. So it looks like this. Joy in the Journey. Finding joy in my life, recognition, managing time, expectations, obstacles, finding real value. Look at what it does to joy in the journey. Now this is the role you play in your day-to-day lives, your journey of your life. Look at the top bar. How many of you have this top bar off to the left? Finding joy in my life. Or how many of you have the bottom bar off to the left? Finding value in my life. These are the fulfillment bars, guys. This is where the damage of getting too caught up in expectations can be. Disheartened and unhappy. Doesn't mean you're completely unhappy in all of your life or you're totally disheartened. What it means is there are areas in life where brain sees such a gap between what is and what is supposed to be that it's focused on the gap. And it's not focused on what's amazing all around you. Look in the middle, that top bar in the middle, it says Gratitude. I'm in gratitude. That bottom bar says fulfilled. Where are two other places you'd rather be? In gratitude and fulfilled. And look what happens. You can't go to the right. It says not applicable. It means you can't find too much value in your life and you can't find too much joy in your life. There's no such thing as finding too much of it. But when you go to the left, it's because the expectation's been chasing down so much that you're not really finding that true gratitude. Doesn't mean you're not a grateful person, just means you may miss out on everything around you that's amazing. You guys are at a level in your business that you strive for how long? And you got there. You're there. 99% of the population in your business would trade places with you tomorrow. You have time freedom. You have money freedom. How focused are you on that? How focused are you on everything around you that you have that's so incredible versus what you haven't achieved yet? How beautiful is everything that you have around you? How amazing is it? Versus this will cause you to go into some sort of frustration, some sort of disappointment. And then look at managing your time. When that bar is off to the right, that third bar, or even the second bar, recognition, now you're just trying to achieve at all costs. Let me go. Let me do it all. Let me go do it all. And you'll probably spend a lot of time multitasking. Multitasking is not a healthy thing. It kills brain cells. If you do two creative things in the moment, your IQ drops by 10 points. That's the equivalent of not sleeping for 36 hours. That is not a good thing. But multitasking, because I got to get it all done, I got to get it all handled. You guys know the damages of multitasking. It causes so many issues with being in the present moment and being focused. It causes issues with error rates. It causes anxiety. It causes burnout. It causes, the list goes on and on and on. In fact, I think I'll show it to you tomorrow. We'll go through a multitasking exercise tomorrow and show you what it actually does to the brain. The bottom line is you all want to be in gratitude. You know that. You know gratitude is so important. So I'm curious, where do you spend time? Or a better question is, where's the gap? Where's the gap between where you want to be and where you are? And how are you focused on that gap? And how is that messing with your gratitude? Anybody have any questions or comments, or anybody have any thoughts about that? The gap between the two and how it shows up for you?
I will say something. I took this test a year ago. So results, when I look at this, I feel so different today. And I'm not saying this is the right way, but a year ago, I was so focused on having to give my business and all my business members the same amount of attention that I give my family, because it was like the only way to grow from diamond to crown to royal is to like pour into them. And I wasn't feeling that reciprocated. And so I had to completely, I don't know if you'd call it burnout, but I had to just let go of that. And if they want that, they're going to work for it themselves. And I see a lot of you guys shaking your head because I know we are all in the same boat, but it's like, I felt like I was working harder for them than they were for themselves. So our business took a dip. I'm not going to lie. Like, it took a dip. We lost diamond rank once, and it's slowly starting to catch back up now. But once I prioritized my family and feeling grateful for what we had and feeling fulfilled for the time I'm spending with my kids and not feeling so guilty pushing my kids aside and giving my business all this time, trying to like give everyone equal time, I am so much more happier in my life, like in our family life. And not saying like pushing my business aside was the right answer, but for whatever reason, I needed that break in order to like find the gratitude and that fulfillment in my family first before I could focus on my business. And now I'm slowly starting to, weed things back in. But at what point I know we talk a lot about balance. I don't ever want to be back into the place where I feel like I have to give every business member on my team the same amount of time and attention that I give my kids. That is absolutely not a priority for me. And I was very unhappy at that time. So how do you start to, I don't know the question I'm trying to ask, but do you like, I'm trying to.
Shelby, because look at this. Think about you were running your business. You were trying to get other people to achieve at high levels so that what?
So that what?
So that what? You were getting other people. You were giving all these people on your team all this attention so they became successful. Right. So that what?
Just, I don't know, it just felt like success for me too. Like if they're achieving, it's, you know, so I had to let go of that and just say, like, I don't know. I just.
So notice, it was really, and this is, everybody's going to relate to this. You're just sitting in proxy for everybody. But that success for everybody else was really about your success. And you wanted to help them. I know you wanted to help them. I know you really wanted to serve people. I get that. You all do. You have great big hearts. But let's face it, you were focused on wanting them to be successful so you could feel significant.
Right.
That's never going to be the right path because you'll always create burnout because it's about who? It's always going to be about you and it's never enough. If it was really, you went into your family and went, I want to soak up my family and just enjoy my family and this is great. I want this, absolutely. You moved away from needing to be so significant because with your family, you already just feel significant.
Right.
It's already met. That need is met for you already. So you're already there.
And I think we just had so much for a while within the Young Living community. We had all these visions of like always wanting more and more and more. And so it's like always this vision of buying a bigger house or buying more land or buying this. And you weren't appreciating like what was in front of you right then and right there. Because there was always this bigger expectation and it just wasn't moving along. I don't know if everyone else can relate to that, but that's kind of what I had to go through. And it took a year to really like pause and like, I'm so thankful for our house. I'm so thankful for our land. I'm so thankful I get to stay home and homeschool my kids. And if I cruised like, I don't want to cruise like this forever, of course, because that's not our personality, but I would be 100% grateful and happy doing that. I don't ever want to go back to a place where I'm not thankful for what I have right now.
So you get scared to go back into your business and work like you did because you think, oh my gosh, I might get caught back in that cycle again.
Yes, a little bit. I don't know how far to creep back in or at what point to prioritize, I guess.
It's not about
the time you talked about in the beginning a little bit.
Just so you know, it's not about the time you put into your business. It's all about the intention. What are you focused on? Are you focused on achieving to be enough? Or are you taking care of your self-esteem and feeling like you're enough so you don't have to achieve to be enough? I'm already enough. I don't have to achieve to fulfill anything. I just am going to happily achieve because I want to. That's it. I don't have to because I have a fear of failure or I have a fear of not being enough or being loved. But it's really, and I know that sounds hokey, like being loved, really? Is that my fear? In a sense, being significant, that's what it's about. So remember, it's never going to be enough. But if you'll step back and go, hang on, this isn't about me. I really want to contribute to them. How can I contribute to my team? Not how do I become significant, but how can I really contribute? I want to contribute at a bigger level. It'll create massive fulfillment. And the balance you'll feel here will be massive and you'll never feel the burnout. It's only when we're achieving to be enough. It's only when we're achieving to be happy. That's the stuff that's creating the issue. That's the problem. That's why you guys are here. You resonated to some degree with what basically in a nutshell, what Shelby just said. Yes. And you're going, how much can I work? I'm going to promise you, you're going to get stuck again if the other part of this doesn't get solved, right? The other piece of it. So let's see, Kim, you said April Point was my personal mentor for years and told me when I had time to grab an oil and inhale for several days so that when I feel it's not enough to go back to that oil and remember the time. Yeah, I mean, whatever that is, whatever you have to do to engage in the gratitude and the peace and the joy of what you're doing and why you're doing it. But it's all about your intention. Is your intention to create more significance for yourself, or is your intention to create more contribution in the world? Is your intention to create more gratitude and growth? So I would tell you, release your expectations and replace them. Replace them not with lower expectations, but replace them with appreciations. I'll give you an example. Guys, right now, I want you to be critical of at least 3 things. 3 things in your room that you're in, or 3 things in your business, or 3 things in yourself, or just be critical of 3 things. Tell me 3 things you can be critical of. Go for it. Find somebody have a problem child on their team. We can criticize them. Let's be critical of that person, that problem child, right? You can be critical of them. Does somebody have some drama with somebody? Can somebody criticize something that Young Living's been doing wrong since convention? Can you criticize something about convention? You're like, really? We're spending time doing that? Come on, I watched, I was there. I was like, really? You're gonna spend an hour and a half there? Critical, come on, be critical. Critical of something, anything. Come on, bring them on, critical. You can even criticize yourself.
You want us to say them?
I want you to tell me, what are they? Be critical.
Yeah, a team member just yelling at me because her warranty was out on her diffuser 7 months ago, and Young Living won't replace it. So they're a money grubbing company that doesn't care about her.
Can't believe that. Stupid. They should just replace it. Replaced all the diffusers.
What's your deal?
There you go. You're critical. I like it. What else? Be critical of something. Come on, look around you. There's something.
Oh, the carpet in my house. We spend our money on family and other things. We don't really spend it on reinvesting in our house. And so we've got carpet with lots of love spots on it.
What else? What else can you guys be critical of? Let's hear it.
We can't cross the border and go to the United States.
Oh man, there's Canadians that want to come into the US. You Canadians, what are you at? We want to go to Canada. Gosh, I just want to have an event. I want to go anywhere. Like I'm supposed to be in Red Deer, right? I'm supposed to be in Red Deer doing an event. Not Red Deer. I'm supposed to be in Edmonton. Yeah. Supposed to be in Edmonton doing an event. I'm supposed to be in Minnesota. I'm supposed to be in California. Gosh, can't go anywhere.
And it's raining and cold here. Just saying.
It's raining and cold. And in Utah, it's 100 degrees today and hot. You guys have all experienced that, I know. Gosh, it's so hot out there. What else can you be critical of?
My son has 1.5 credits to graduate high school.
My son has 1.5 credits. My son right now, my 15-year-old is sitting at home playing Fortnite, I guarantee it. In the middle of the day. And he could be working out or going out and looking for a job or doing something else. I guarantee he's home playing Fortnite.
I have a child doing an electronic detox right now. That's really fun.
Ah, yeah, I'll bet.
From Fortnite, because there's a lot of charges on a credit card.
Yeah, look how fast we can go. Now there's charges on a credit card and like doing this. How fast can we be critical? That's what happens with expectations, right? They create criticism. Now, how many of you have done studies with the heart math people? Anybody worked with the heart math people? So, you know, heart math people teach heart and brain together, right? When they work together, something really powerful happens. So they say that there's a lot of the same areas in our brain that they found in our heart. So it's almost like our second brain. So their whole objective is to get heart and brain together. How do you do that? Through breathing, but mainly through gratitude, right? It's through gratitude. So how do we do it? Look, let's check this out. Here's what happens. So if we were to trade our expectations for appreciations, this is literally an EKG and an EEG. So if you look at the top bar, the EEG is the red line, and the EKG is the red line, the EEG is the blue line, brain and heart. And the top one is frustration. Look what happens to heart and brain. They're off. They're doing different things, right? Look at the bottom. The bottom is in appreciation. Look what's happening to heart and head. They're together. The damage of criticism at the top. Expectations. Expectations always lead to criticism. As soon as you're in gratitude, you're like, will I achieve anything? Oh my gosh, at these levels, you'll be in flow. What do these adventure athletes do? They ride 60-foot waves. They climb rock walls with no rope, 3,000 feet above the ground. Right? You guys have seen the movie Solo, Free Solo, right? What are these people, what are they achieving? I read about a guy the other day, a kid, he's 35 years old, he's a kid to me. He literally jumped the Great Wall of China with a skateboard and then shattered every single bone in his right foot and went up and did it again. What are these people doing? They're in flow. Their head and their heart are together. Will you achieve more in this space? Absolutely. We gotta let go of this place of expectation. It's the key to everything. Replace your expectations with appreciations. Watch this. I'll give you an experience of the power of gratitude for just a minute. So just put everything away in front of you. Just put your pens down, put everything down, just relax. And I want you just to take a couple of deep breaths. Just take a couple of deep breaths and close your eyes. And breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And place both hands over your heart for just a minute. The art of this, just placing hands over your heart, oxytocin starts to flow through your body. Just by placing your hands over your heart. And I want you to feel the value of your heart. Notice the gratitude of your heart. As long as this heart beats, you live. Your heart, it's got value. Who is your heart loved? What has your heart got you through? The difficult times, the struggles, the adversities. The value of your heart. Now, I want you to think about a moment in your life, at any age, from birth until today, that you can have gratitude for. What's a moment? Just find any moment. Doesn't matter, a moment. At any age. Maybe you were with people, maybe you were by yourself, but a moment. A moment you could have gratitude for. Any moment. Find it. A moment of gratitude. And I want you to step into that moment as if it were happening right now. See what you saw. Hear what you heard. Feel what you felt in that moment as if it were happening right now. Just experience it. It was a blessing, wasn't it? Just that moment. Notice the beauty of that moment. Just a moment of gratitude. And underneath your breath, say thank you. Thank you. Find a second moment of gratitude. Maybe it was a moment with your kids, or maybe it was a moment with somebody that you served, or think about a second moment. Doesn't matter, any moment, a moment at any age. And I want you to picture that moment and step into it as if it were happening right now. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt in that moment as if it were happening right now. Feel it, feel the gratitude of that moment. Notice the beauty of that moment. Joy of that moment. the love or the passion of that moment. And underneath your breath, just say thank you. Find a third moment. And maybe this is a moment that you were led or guided and something beautiful came from it. We all love coincidences, but how were you led or guided by something outside of you, something bigger than you, the universe, God, whatever you call that, life? Something led you to something and amazing happened because of that. You met the love of your life. You were introduced to this business. Where were you led or guided and something beautiful happened? Step into that moment. It's always wonderful when life is happening for us and not to us. Step into that moment and see what you saw. Hear what you heard. And underneath your breath, thank you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. Keep your eyes closed, but place both your hands on your knees for a minute, palms up. And I want you to imagine now that your heart is filled with this gratitude. In fact, give it a color. Maybe it's a gold or a white light or a valor purple. But your heart's filled up with this color, full of gratitude, filling all of your heart. And now imagine it pouring out of your heart into the rest of your body, into your stomach, down through your legs, up into your shoulders and through your head and out through your arms. This gratitude, healing anything that needs to be healed in your body, in your mind, between yourself, between you and others. Healing. And then imagine that it's strengthening the best parts of you. Your compassion, your love, your gratitude, your joy, your persistence, your determination, your empathy. Strengthening the best parts of you. Healing and then strengthening. And then serve. Imagine this gratitude pouring out of you and into the world around you, touching the lives of the people you love the most, entering their hearts, your kids, your family, your friends, your team. In fact, it's like a light radiating from you that anybody that comes within 20 feet of you will experience this gratitude. And it'll improve their lives. It's hard to want what's best for us when we don't want what's best for others. Gratitude. And underneath your breath, say thank you. I love you. And open your eyes. What was that like? If you were going to make a decision on something right now, what do you know? What do you absolutely know? What do you know is truth? See, what we did is just got heart and head together. Now, I know some of you have a busy brain, so it's tough to find some of those moments. But if you really got into them, we just got head and heart together. And now you can make any decision. Not from a place of a pros and cons list, not an either or, not a black and white, not a win-lose, not a wrong right, but you can make any decision. You can trust your intuition. Any other thoughts about being in this state of gratitude? Yeah, you find your way to the right choices, right, Yvonne? And what do you know about other people right now? What do you know about life in general? What does this tell you? What does your brain tell you right now? What does your heart tell you right now in this space? It's gratitude. It's heart math. It puts your brain and heart together. It's the power of gratitude. You can practice this every day. Yeah. Replace your expectations with appreciations. Every single thing you guys were critical of, I want you to tell me what you can appreciate about the things you were critical of. You were critical of things. What can you appreciate about the very thing you were critical of? My desk was a mess. It's completely covered with stuff. What can I appreciate about it? Oh my gosh, I'm working, I'm engaged, I'm putting all these things together to try to help people from a place of this, from Zoom, from virtual. I've been at work. That's the appreciation. What else were you critical of that you could appreciate? It's cold and rainy. How can you appreciate that?
Well, the not traveling part has really allowed me to focus on, well, we got our house all finished finally, and then I was able to get my website completely done, and it feels amazing, like just things like that. So
I haven't been able to travel. I've been spending so much time with my family, quality time.
Yeah.
So many weekends that I could have missed out being with my family, and I've got to be with them and engage with them. Yes. Where can you appreciate all the areas you're critical of? Your kids are screaming during the gratitude exercise. They're full of life and spunk. I love it. Awesome, Sarah. Way to go. Absolutely. The chaos in the background, Shelby, but so thankful to be working from home. Absolutely. That's a game changer. The minute you're critical of something, find something to appreciate in that next moment about the very thing you were critical of. That's trading your expectations for appreciations. Now, there's one other area we got to dig into today. So I want to take this in. For sake of time, do me a favor, go to the self-esteem section in your assessment. Self-esteem. It's the very last area in your internal world. So look at self-esteem. Now, here's what's crazy about self-esteem. Based on a study done by it's the New York City study of child development, an individual's self-esteem actually peaks when they're 9 years old and then takes a nosedive. 9 years old. How many of you have kids about this age? And you start to notice there's changes. 9 years old. And then it takes a nosedive. 7 out of 10 people believe they're not enough in some way, shape, or form. I don't measure up. 70% of the population. So where's your self-esteem? Take a look at the top bar. How many of you have this top bar acknowledging my infinite worth off to the left? Anybody have this off to the left? This is crazy. You guys are all very confident people. How could you have this top bar off to the left? How many of you have the second bar off to the left? Again, crazy. How could you have these bars off to the left? How could you have any self-esteem issues at all? You are confident, successful, incredible people. Yet brain is saying there's conditions on you being enough. I'm good enough as long as what? For me, I'm good enough as long as I'm achieving. This feeds into the whole process. I'll be good enough. I'll have value if I make everybody out there happy and I achieve at the highest levels. And then I'm good enough. How many relate to this? So no wonder we're going to keep achieving and achieving and achieving, but for the wrong reasons. It's to be enough instead of happily achieving. How many of you have the third or fourth bar off to the left? That plays into the whole, I don't feel like I have a voice. I can't speak up. Like I shouldn't speak my word or voice my opinion. It might rock the boat. It might create problems. How many of you have the third or fourth bar off to the right? Now you might be tying your self-worth into ideas or concepts. And if someone disagrees with your ideas or concepts, you'll get, brain could encourage you to get defensive or even get offended. So self-worth is attached to ideas and concepts. How about the fifth bar off to the left? Anybody have the fifth bar off to the left? That's all built into taking care of everybody else, right? I got to make sure I can't say no, and I've got to volunteer for everything, and I've got to say yes to everybody. But this plays a dramatic role in this whole achieving to be enough, this whole achieving equals expectations. We got to do it to be enough, to be good enough. This is a big deal. This is a big area. Anybody have questions about this? Thoughts, comments, concerns? This is a massive area. Any thoughts, any comments, any questions?
Mine was such a huge change from the last few that I've done. It was huge. So
it's balanced out, Heather?
Yeah.
Cool.
Hallelujah.
And I think the opposite has happened for me.
Tell me more.
Where I think this was more balanced. I've worked a lot on being versus doing and infinite potential and not equating who I am with what I do and what I achieve. And then I think in the past couple of months with everything that's gone on with changing schedules and I think that I've slipped back into the doing because of survival mode, really, with the business and family and everything that's going on in our community, socially, globally. I feel like I've lost sight of that separation of being and doing.
Yeah. And it messes with the balance here. Yeah. So how do you find self-esteem? How do you find your way back to valuing you without doing? That's the question. Anybody have thoughts about that? The how to?
I just want to share a quick thing about when I was dating my husband and we were talking about getting married, and I actually asked him if, say, something horrible happened to me and I couldn't do things anymore, would you still love me? And can you believe I asked him that? But at any rate, sweet guy looked at me like I had two heads. He was like, of course I would. But it's just, yeah, it's so ingrained. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Like if I talk to you the way you talk to you, would you let me be talking to you right now? If everybody else judges you the way you judge yourself, would you dare even leave your house? Yeah. And listen, this can come from way back. But again, somewhere along the line, brain said, if I achieve, I can be enough. I can have value. I just have to keep achieving. How many of you feel really fulfilled when you're sitting around doing nothing for long periods of time? Yeah. Now, we all have a purpose. We have a stronger purpose, and that purpose is to go out and do more and help more. So I want to show you something real quick, and I'm gonna touch on this, and then we'll bring it back next time we talk. But there are 6 basic human needs that we have. I've talked about some of them already. And those of you that are coaching with us, this is a repetitive exercise, and you know this. The 6 human needs. The first one is certainty, right? We need certainty. I need certainty. I need to be comfortable. I need security. I need to know where I fit in the world. I need to have certainty, right? That's our first human need. It's our most basic need, right? We got to have certainty. Then what's interesting is the next need is uncertainty. That's variety, the variety of life, right? I gotta have variety, I gotta have some change, I gotta have some differences. The third one is significance. Where's my place in the world? I feel significant when. The fourth need is love and connection. Some of us settle for connection when we really could have love, but it's love and connection. The fifth need is growth. How am I growing? And the sixth need is contribution. How am I contributing? Now, these 6 human needs, if 4 or more of these needs are met in anything you do, you have something you're addicted to. If work meets at least 4 of these needs or more, you'll be addicted to it. You'll spend a lot of time there. If spending time with your family has 4 or more of these needs met, you'll spend an inordinate amount of time there. So where we spend our time has a lot to do with our needs. Here's what else we can do with these needs. Are you meeting these 6 human needs of your significant other? If you want a better relationship, how are you meeting these 6 human needs of the other person? In our coaching, we talk a lot about making the other person a raving fan. And when you make another person a raving fan, the way you do that is you meet these 6 human needs in them. But what I want you to look at right now is think about these 6 areas, and based on how you're operating in life, not what you want to have happen, but based on how you're operating in life right now, what 2 needs are you focused on meeting the most? Not the 2 needs you want to be meeting the most. Based on how you're operating, based on what you're doing day to day, based on what life is showing up for you right now, what 2 needs are you focusing on the most? What 2 needs are you needing to be met more than any other? Now, we all want to say, well, of course, Brandon, it's contribution and growth. Because I know those are the 2 greatest, and that's where I want to be, and so that's where I'm at. But I want you to be honest with yourself for a minute. What 2 needs are you really focused on meeting the most? If you're like, I'm trying to find my business and make my business work better and get my team more effective, is it out of certainty? Is it out of significance? Is it, I need the world to look a certain way and I need them to listen up and listen to what I'm saying, and it's probably significance? Is it, I'm so tired of the way the world looks out there and I don't know what it's going to look like? And that's not uncertainty. That's focused on certainty and needing certainty. If it's, I'm just so comfortable where I'm at, I'm just in comfort and I'm focusing on comfort, that's certainty. If it's, I can't wait to get out in the world and connect with as many people as possible, I want to connect so badly, I just want to wrap my arms around the world and just, how can I love people more and connect? Then it's connection. If it's, oh my gosh, please let me help as many people as possible, I just can't wait to help people become better. And not because I need it, but I'll even do it silently back here. I just want the world to be a better place. I can't wait to contribute more. Then it's contribution. If it's like, give me everything that you can, universe, life, God, give it to me so that I can grow. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's painful, as long as I'm growing, then it's growth. What 2 needs are you focused on having met the most? Anybody want to share? Certainty and love and connection, okay? That's where you're at right now, Gene, all right? Very different in business and family, totally. They can be different. You can have 2 needs that you're trying to meet in business and 2 needs you're going to meet in your family, absolutely. Love and connection, certainty and connection, yeah. Certainty and growth, okay? Significance and growth, all right? Now think about it. Look how I've designed this as a bullseye, right? If you go after contribution and that's your main focus in life, what would life look like? Think about somebody right now whose objective is to contribute in the world around them, and that's their number 1 focus. What would life look like for that person? Think of Nelson Mandela. What was his focus more than anything else? Contribution? Yeah. Think about somebody you admire a great deal in the world. The person that is your greatest mentor. Where would their focus be? Contribution? Growth? Or certainty? Or significance? What's the damage of certainty? Look, you make it more important than love and connection, growth, contribution, significance, even variety. And if you aim for certainty, look what happens. How close do you get to these other areas? What's interesting is when you fulfill the need of contribution, and that's your focus, all these other needs get met. Even if you aim for contribution, chances of these other needs being met are really high. That's right, Shelby, you got it. If you aim for the center, you're likely to hit the others too, right? It's totally spot on. So where are your needs being focused the most? I'm gonna leave you with that today, and we'll dig into that in more detail next time we talk. And then tomorrow we'll take on the 3 external areas. Now, one of the things that we've done with we've offered it to every single diamond out there in the business is for us to individually go through your assessment to help you see what's going on specifically in yours, because there's a lot of bars we didn't look at. There's 6.3 quadrillion ways you can take this assessment. And so everybody's got differences and things that are going on that are different. I took on a few, I looked at a couple, but it doesn't determine everything that's going on with you. So what I'm willing to do for each one of you is to go through your assessment individually. Now you got to give me time to do this, right? So we might be scheduled out a few weeks, but what I'll do is we'll reach out to each one of you in some way, shape, or form. It sounds like email is probably not the best way to do that. But maybe that's all we have of yours is your email. So if all we have is your email, that's the only way for us to communicate. But if we have your text or we have your phone number, we'll reach out to you to see about scheduling a time for me to personally go through your assessment. But just give me time. It may be a couple of months out that we may be able to do all that. But I'm willing to do that for each one of you so we can really see what's going on individually with you. And I've already done that with some of you. Shelly, we did that. Shelby, we did this a while back. Heather's been part of our coaching for a while. Heidi, you've been to all of our events. Jean, you've done coaching with us. Who am I missing if I'm missing anybody out there? So some of you have already engaged with us. You know the drill, you know what's going on, but we'll schedule time with each one of you to go through your assessment where it's at today. And Shelby, take it again, because this assessment changes over time. It's a year later, absolutely. Even if you just took it in March, I would say it's probably going to change because a lot's happened in the world over the last few months, right? So life is going to change. That's going to impact how you're thinking. So we'll reach out to each one of you to schedule time at some point to go through your assessment individually to really help you see what's going on at a core level for you. What does your assessment tell about your story? And we'll help you see some things. And then from there, you guys can decide whether or not coaching is something you want to do with us, if you want to work with us further, or you want to introduce us to your team, you want to have an event sometime in the future, or maybe it's just a virtual event. We're doing a lot of virtual events now, so you may want to do a virtual event for your team. Those are all options for you. But we'll reach out to each one of you and schedule time to do that. And then tomorrow we'll dig much deeper into this assessment because we'll look at the external world and we'll talk more about these 6 human needs and how they're impacting. So I want to be here available for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, I'm here for you. Any questions, comments, thoughts, or concerns, or things that I can help you with at all. And you're welcome to come off mute and ask them if you want. I'm seeing a lot of thank yous. You're welcome. Thank you for giving me the opportunity I'm honored to be able to speak to you and tell you about this whole concept of brain and subconscious. Thanks for sticking with me here. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns from anybody?
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
About that little target thing that you just had up. If you are contributing with the expectation of being of significance or making things more certain, or, you know, if you have this expectation tied to it, how does that affect?
It's not really contribution then, is it?
What was that?
Not really contribution then. If
right.
You're focused on.
I missed the definition of your of when you said something about contribution, because that's what I keep getting held up on. It's like if you have this expectation that you're contributing to your team or to your family or more doing more around the house and you're not getting recognized for the significant work that you're doing, it could be a letdown.
That's really significance and certainty disguised as contribution.
Okay.
It's really not contribution, it's a disguise. You're really focused on your own significance and how you're going to get certainty. So it's really not about contribution, because contribution doesn't have any expectation. Contribution doesn't have, it's like I open the door for you, and whether you say thank you or not, doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. So I missed when you were giving examples of them. When you said contribution, something about contributing to the world with, I don't know.
Contribution is without, it's taking you out of the equation. So I don't need to be in the equation to contribute. I can do it silently. I can do it quietly. I can do it in the background. As long as I'm contributing, I just want to contribute. I want the world to be a better place.
And I think that's hard to recognize. A lot of us with the similar personalities, it's hard to recognize the difference between those. Or maybe it's just making it more aware of it, but.
It's definitely hard because we're built into this achieving for significance and certainty. So those of you that were honest about this and you went, yeah, here's really where I'm operating, it doesn't mean you have to live in that space. It means that contribution can be your objective, but it's not an easy thing to switch to because we're so focused on achieving to either be enough or to be significant or to get certainty into our lives, right? I need success, that's certainty, that's significance. But if it's really about growing and contribution, those are spiritual needs. You'll never suffer. You'll go out and happily achieve and never achieve to be happy. You'll never need to do that. You'll never burn out. You'll never need a balance. You'll never need to get rid of it. It won't be stress. People won't frustrate you and make you angry, at least not the level that they do when you're focused on significance and certainty. So that's obviously our ultimate goal. And we'll talk more about how to get there tomorrow. Yeah, good question. Any other questions, guys? Comments, thoughts, concerns, anything? All right. If you guys do have any questions, I'll type my email address right here. You guys, this is my personal email address. You can email me at any time. If you have questions, concerns, anything. If you just want to email me to schedule a time, whoops. Let's do that to everybody. If you just want to schedule a time to go through your assessment, we can start doing that now. So email me at any time. If you need to take your assessment, again, go to brandonbarbercoaching.com. I'll type that in here. We will send you the recording of this, and we'll also send you the slideshow. So tomorrow when we're done, we'll send you all the slides of everything, so you'll get that tomorrow. All right, guys, have a blessed, amazing day, and we'll see you all tomorrow.